What is up, everybody? Happy May 3rd. May 4th will be with you. It'll be tomorrow. This is ALWT Things Gaming Season 2, Episode 18 with ALWT Gaming, a.k.a. Malachi 36, a.k.a. It's the 9-Ball, and a.k.a. Mildewy Carrot. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today? We're going to start with you, Mr. Purple Background.
Yeah.
Why are you going with yourself first?
Because I want to see how you're doing. This is a conversation among men. You know what I mean? I want to see how
there's men here?
How my gentlemen are doing.
There's men here? Where?
Yes.
I don't see them.
No, dude. How are you?
I'm tired as hell, but living life, trying to game. Not enough time in the day. Why isn't there?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, too much time to do other things but game unfortunately. But we have to make time. That's what we do as gamers. We make that time.
I hate the adult life, but I love the adult life. You know.
Yeah. It's the 9-Ball Corner Pocket. How are you doing, man?
I'm great. I'm good today, actually. It was kind of busy at work, but got through it, and I'm good to go.
Good to go. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, too, as well. I mean, we got a decent amount of stories out there for you guys today. We got about 6 topics. One's a little fun one for you guys. And you guys probably haven't been hearing about a lot of the stuff that's been happening over the week. Such as Square Enix, Xbox Bethesda showcases, all that stuff. We're going to talk about all that. But before we jump into that, you already know on a weekly basis, I'm going to go around the table once again. Starting with this 9-Ball this time. What have you been playing lately?
Just powering through, actually, Final Fantasy 14. Powering through a bunch of that, so.
Heard that. What was the last thing that you were doing on that?
I have beat Castle Doma.
Okay.
So I'm heading towards what looks like another trial coming up here shortly.
Interesting. Go ahead.
I think I'm like 2 or 3 quests away from it or something.
Heard that. Mildewy Carrot, what have you been playing, man? What's been up?
Well, I got stranded on Stranded Deep by my partner, so, I just been out there trolling around in my little life raft, just trying to get my own stuff, so.
He wants to say true to the name, Stranded Deep.
Yeah, I got stranded real deep. Catch my drift.
I swear I'll be back. It's just I want to get this. I want to get this finally done.
Comes back in on a freaking yacht, going, "Hey!" Other than that, I've been also playing Going Medieval again. They've done updates with that, so I've been getting back into that. Been touching up on Raft here and there, getting ready for whenever they decide to launch the next chapter. Pretty much that's about it right now. I haven't been doing too many other things currently. Just been enjoying my survival games and then watching anime while I do them. So, and just trying to live a good life, I guess.
Heard that. I've been I'm with Mildewy Carrot. I mean, it's 9-Ball. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 lately. I recently got out of Stormblood. Now I'm in that intermission from Stormblood on over to Shadowbringer, and there's a ton of dungeons for me to do right now, which is really cool. And I think I'm almost caught up to Silent as far as missions go, because I don't think he's officially in Shadowbringer yet. I could be wrong about that. But once that happens, then we'll be good there. I've also been looking at housing inside of Final Fantasy 14. I know exactly what I need to do it. I just got to make sure that I get my military rank up a little bit more, and I need a minimum of 1 million more gil. And then after that, some of the housing on there is really nice. Like I know that you're not a MMO person, let alone pay to play or anything like that, Mildewy. But if you were to jump on for like the housing portion of it, I see you having a field day with it. Like that's just something straight up your alley with building and organizing all that good stuff. And some of the houses on there look really cool.
So I'd be the homeowner and like just wait for y'all to come back from your dungeon raids.
I mean, you'd be adventuring with us, but we can have the house be your side project and stuff. That's all I'm saying.
I'm making a Baba Yaga house. I'm making a house that comes with me.
That comes with you, okay. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. I've also so over the weekend I've been working on another project, and I had a couple buddies on over, but on that I was able to show them Blood Hunt, which was actually pretty fun when I was playing it on the PS5. And that's a free download for anyone that that's interested in it. It is a battle royale type, but it is vampires and guns and abilities and stuff. It's really cool, especially the way that they climb up the walls and stuff. That's real cool. And also, what's cool about it too, one of the features on there is that like you have your people that you're against. You have NPCs out there too as well. Some of them are military NPCs that they have guns that they start shooting at you with. Some of them are just civilians out there. If you feed on the civilians, I have yet to actually feed on the other NPCs that fight back. But if you feed on the civilians, they'll have certain perks to them to where one of them might give you extra life. So if you die, then you actually revive, and it will have like that whole little counter thing for like you're invulnerable for at least 5 seconds, so you can like move around and stuff. Another one will give you health. Another one will give you attack power and stuff like that. Movement speed, cooldown on your reductions. It's actually really cool, and it's all randomized too. And then also like they do the whole little Last of Us thing to where like you're like listening and you're trying to find out where all the minions and clickers and enemies are at. It makes sense to have it inside the vampire game, and it's there, and it's actually really cool. Yeah, it's literally like a bunch of blades fighting. Like Blaze from Marvel, it's like that. And it's actually pretty awesome. So we got to play that a little bit over the weekend. And I think that's pretty much about it that I've been playing. Same things, Mildewy Care. I've been watching a lot of anime. Some recommendations I will throw that out there for y'all, which were recommended to me from Gravity, which is Love After World Domination. That's a good one. It's Power Rangers anime. That's literally what it is, and it's pretty funny. So yeah, there's that. Definitely want to shout out to Spy Family. Fantastic anime. Shikamaru's not a cutie. I would recommend that for the slice of lifers out there. It's still, I will still stand by it to where it gave me the My Dress Up Darling vibes, which is a fantastic anime S tier for me for sure. But it's not to that level quite yet, and I'm actually kind of shocked that it hasn't already, in my opinion. But Shikamaru is not a cutie, still a pretty good one. Tamagotchi game is also good too. It's very Squid Game like, but there's not death, at least right now. There's no death in it. It is just
but they're
more
telling you.
Yeah, but it's definitely a mind game for sure. And then of course, Trapped in a Dating Sim. That's a good one too. Hilarious, and it is very unique of how that story is kind of progressing and going out there. I could go all day, and one day again we'll bring back all day anime on one of these Saturdays or Sundays. But those are just a couple out there that I want to throw out there to you guys right now. But enough about that. Get that all out of your head. No, don't, because those are recommendations for a reason. So keep those in your head. But for right now, what we're going to do,
I'm going to shift your attention.
Is shifting that attention. That's right. I want to talk about the future of Square Enix. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Not the deal you're looking for.
It is the future of Square Enix. Story
These are
number
not the
one.
IPs you're looking for.
Okay. Darren Bunthus from GameSpot says this in their article. So stick with me because it is a lengthy article, at least from what it looks like. But we can read through it pretty quickly. Embracer Group has announced that it has acquired Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal, and a catalog of IPs from Square Enix. The $300 million deal will see IPs such as Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, Legacy of Kain, and more than 50 backlog catalog games added to the Embracer's portfolio. Quote, "We are thrilled to welcome these studios into Embracer Group. We recognize the fantastic IP, world-class creative talent, and track record of excellence that have been demonstrated time and again over the past decades. It has been a great pleasure to meeting the leadership team and discussing future plans of how they realize their ambitions and become a great part of Embracer," says Lars Wingefers, co-founder and group CEO of Embracer Group, in a press statement. The deal will see Square Enix offload all of its Western game development studios to Embracer Group, which includes games like upcoming Tomb Raider that is currently in development at Crystal Dynamics. The purchase is expected to be completed during the second quarter of Embracer's financial year, which is July through September 2022, so this year. In a press statement, Square Enix said that the deal enables the launch of the new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. Quote, going forward, the company's development function will comprise its studios in Japan, Square Enix external studios, and Square Enix Collective. The company's overseas studios will continue to publish franchises such as Just Cause, Outriders, and Life is Strange. Embracer has made some massive acquisitions over the last couple of years as it purchased Gearbox Entertainment for $1.3 billion last year, 3D Realms, and several smaller studios for $313 million in August, Dark Horse Media for its transmedia potential in December, and Perfect World Entertainment. So I want to start off with the gentleman that said interesting. I want to start off with you, Nineball, because I have thoughts. I have predictions. I have thoughts, and I don't even want to say predictions. I have theories and I have thoughts. But I want to start off with Mildewy. Then I want to kick it all the way down to Mildewy. Or not Mildewy. I want to start it off with Nineball. Then I want to kick it down to Mildewy, who's just eagerly waiting for the ball to be passed to him.
1 year.
Then I wanted you to throw it up, where you get that alley-oop going, and I'm going to dunk it in at the end with my little statements at the end. So, Nineball, take the floor. The mic is yours. What do you think about this?
It's interesting. I mean, I thought they had bought Crystal Dynamics for their IPs and stuff, but it's kind of weird. I'm looking at what reason I'm reading some of the IPs because I didn't really know who Embracer Group was. So
yeah,
I'm currently looking at some of the IPs going to be acquiring afterwards, which would be Tomb Raider, Deus Ex. You have Legacy of Kain, which is actually a pretty good one. Actually, I mean, Thief, it kind of slipped. I don't even know what Project Snowblind is. Soul Weaver, probably. That's what sounds. Yeah, it sounds about snowboarding. It's probably about it. Soul Weaver, Blood Omen, Gex, and Whiplash.
Those are just some of them.
Yeah,
that's just some. Yeah,
but some of them underneath them, I didn't know they had these 3D Realms.
Gearbox.
3D Realms. Duke Nukem. Perfect World made a pretty interesting game, which I actually like, called The Secret. I want to say they did a Secret World. But they don't want to do the Secret World.
So actually, Project Snowblind is kind of like a Duke Nukem type game, it looks like. Pretty much just a shooter.
Oh, dang it.
Like old GoldenEye style. Like, literally, like old school graphics. It's $6 on Steam, guys.
But I didn't even know they had that many. Oh, they have Ark. Why does that sound so familiar?
Ark is the MMO.
Ark Survival Evolved?
No, not that Ark. It's
ARCH.
ARC. I have this on my.
Okay.
I have it on my thing. It was from a MMO we played.
Yeah.
ARC.
They did. Okay, Star Trek is underneath them. I think I still have Ark on mine. Why did I erase it?
I don't think I see is ARC Raiders.
No, it's it was like a launcher that it would put on your thing to where you would launch games from it.
Oh, it's a launcher.
Yeah, but I can't remember what games they made. This is quite interesting. I mean, they shedded them off too at a pretty interesting time. Both games that they got rid of, namely Tomb Raider and Deus Ex, seems to be, from what I'm reading, and from what I was reading, it both seem to be looking at making another game.
Yeah. I don't know about Deus Ex, but I know for a fact that Tomb Raider was in development on another game. And also, quick little disclosure on the side, I will say that the Perfect Dark is that they're confirmed that that's not going to change. It's still going to be it's in development already right now. Nothing really with that has changed necessarily, because I guess Perfect Dark was like one of these groups was helping out with Perfect Dark.
All right. I think, well, I was reading it. Well, yeah. As part of the deal, Eidos Montreal plans to revive Deus Ex and use new Unreal 5 technology. This is very interesting. Anybody, have you ever played a Deus Ex?
No. I know it's like a cyberpunk setting, but yeah. I've never played
It's
it though.
basically in some way Cyberpunk before Cyber. Well, I can't say Cyberpunk before Cyberpunk. I'm trying to think of which one came first. Cyberpunk was
Day
actually
6 came out before Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk was a pen and paper game.
All right, you're talking about that. Okay, so
Deus Ex actually launched. Oh God, it launched on old PCs. I played Deus Ex, Human Revolution. I played Deus Ex. What was that one? I played a lot of the Deus Exes because I can't remember which one we played. Something about the cells and they had the Omar in there. But that was a pretty good game, actually. It's pretty intriguing. There's a lot of decision making you do, and you had like 4 to 5 different endings. That's generally the gist of Deus Ex. Is the amount of decisions you make. You make a decision, it will affect the game and how it's played. It was a very interesting game, and I'm kind of fascinated. I'm just hoping that they have a plan in the end and not
it,
just shedding them off.
and that's kind of where the discussion is going on over to too as well. It's just like, again, you just said beforehand, at the very top of the stream, you didn't even know who Embracer Group was when they've already developed a Gearbox and already have a bunch of IPs underneath their belt already. That's kind of a problem. like for you not to know who they are, and then it's just like, all right, well, who's Embracer Group? Like that's just
Well,
kind of a go ahead.
it's sort of like in the way where a lot of people don't know what Tencent is.
Well, I mean, even that is still worldwide for that, and they are developing games. You may not realize that Tencent is the one that made it, but they're still
Like
doing stuff with our IPs though.
a lot of people, well, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know them though, and that's the thing about. I never heard Embracer Group. These are bigger, like Tencent. A lot of people don't know Tencent's basically over Fortnite. They're also the same people that's over PUBG. That's the reason why I believe. Yeah, that's the reason why the whole lawsuit stopped because it made no sense for them to be suing themselves. It was just retarded, so they just stopped the whole
That's
thing.
right. I forgot.
These are like mega. I don't really, like I said, I don't really know much about them. It's about wow. Studio, just those studios. 10,000
So
developers.
Yeah, 11,000 actually was the last update.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is a pretty big company, and I'm like I said, I'm trying to figure out as to why. Because I always thought that they wanted to keep those. Because I always know that Square Enix always wanted to get into the Western market. I always thought they did, but it was kind of weird that they just sold them all,
Yeah.
like
And,
all the Western games.
I have my theory about that, but I want to take it to mildew carrot though, because I want to savor this little theory on over for you guys and see if you guys grab it and are with me, or just like, nah, Flash, we ain't messing with that.
I shot it down before you even started to take off.
Go ahead, hater. What do you think about this?
No. Well, first off, Nine Ball. I think the reason why we don't remember the name is because actually they used to be called THQ Nordic.
Yeah.
Oh,
2019, they changed their name to
The
Embracer
Embracer
Group.
Group,
I completely
yeah.
forgot that. So
oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
THQ Nordic are the ones who
Oh,
did
I
King of
love
Walmart,
THQ.
Dark
King of the
Siders,
Mammal.
Biomutant, and Destroy All Humans.
Also,
So
Metro.
yeah, so that's why we don't remember the names because they did a name
Okay.
change. And
Yeah.
I haven't heard any drops from them recently, so that's probably why we're all like, "What's going on here? We don't get this." So.
Well, and here's the thing. There was a last year, because I remember I actually asked Kind of Funny Games directly to see if they were going to react to it. They said like, yeah, we're going to go react to this video and stuff like that. We'll see if we're going to see any Saints Row or stuff like that out here. They showed nothing of value besides the SpongeBob game, and even that was still like, you have to that's for a very niche audience. So just like you have all this stuff.
SpongeBob is owned by
Here we go. Arc Studios.
I want to
This
say
is
like
Perfect World
Bugbear.
Entertainment. Arc Games.
I was gonna say like I think you're like Bugbear. Or like it's one of the game. It's one of the companies that's underneath Embracer Group.
Yeah.
Because they've got at least let's see here 1, 2, 3.
That's where I've heard them from. J Dynasty.
They got about like 30 plus, like 35 plus game studios underneath of them.
Yes.
So it seems like they're kind of like creating like I want to say like a large like overhead group, like Embracer Group is like the large overhead group of this company, and then
Yes.
you've got the game studios below it. So you got still got a THQ Nordic gaming group underneath of it. You've got the Gunfire Games, Bugbear Entertainment, Piranha Bytes, and a lot of other ones underneath it. There's like a longer list, guys.
Yeah.
Um,
And now
here, so it
Crystal
seems like what
Dynamics and
they're
stuff is now underneath them too now.
well, yeah, and then now you're adding Crystal Dynamics groups, Eidos Montreal, Square Enix Montreal,
Now I feel much more
and
confident
then some of
because
their IPs. So it seems like they're kind of like building themselves up to like be able to create themselves like be like a forefront game studio almost like so or like something towards like they've got the IPs, they've got the games that they can pick and choose from and be able to go through and like build off of, recreate or regenerate or create higher. You know, as Nineball said that they had the announcements about definitely getting out these functions with like Unreal 5. Like Unreal 5 adds so much to game building and all, and like some of the games that they mentioned that they got were like really old games. So it's like, all right, you're getting this old game. Are you going to be planning on using it, bringing it back, revitalizing it? Like like my question is like, cool, you bought them, but what are you going to do now? Like Tomb Raider is the biggest one that speaks off to me in this one. Tomb Raider series one of Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider are three fantastic solo play games that have just so much story, lore, and just good world building richness to them. Just so good, and character building and everything. That the fact that they've got that kind of makes me hope that they take what is Tomb Raider and kind of like maybe put it towards some other games. Like you
have
help
you?
build them better. Like
Oh,
maybe take it and like take Thief and like really just ramp Thief up. Like I remember Thief back when it was like on the Xbox. Like it was okay, but it didn't have like a good like
You talk about the first person one when you're like stealth and all that stuff.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you start off like in a dungeon because you got caught because you're a petty thief. It's like you're trying to build yourself up as like the thief, but
Mm.
it
I
really
played
didn't
a
speak
trial
to
like that
me.
on PS4, and I'm with you. It didn't really speak to me.
So I'm like I'm hoping that they're getting these games to, like I said, to get this content, to get these licenses and all underneath them to then where they can take it, review it, ingest it, learn from it, and like build themselves up and get these gaming studios that they got underneath them because they've got a good group underneath of them, and really get them
Legacy
to
of Khan and
like really
Blood Omen are really good too.
like really just help boost out like
Looks
some
so
good
recent.
IPs, new IPs. Maybe find some of those hidden gems that are in there and like repolish them with the newer stuff that we got.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're even seeing buys like this though with Microsoft, with Sony happening. So the fact that Embracer Group is getting on board and getting this from them is really not big of a surprise that they're doing it. I think the surprise, kind of, or for me at least a little bit, is that they only spent like 3 million,
That was
like
going to be one of
300
my.
million.
Yeah, that
It's
was
like
going to
we've
be
been
one of my
seeing these
questions
other
for you
deals where
guys.
like
4.5
we're in there like in
billion.
billions, almost
Yeah.
like trillion. I'm like, and then they're like, well, we just spent 300 million. I'm like, uh, when did like how did what like is it the
Yeah.
summer sale already? Like I'm confused here. And
It's because of what they're buying. They're not buying the whole studio. You're just buying the IPs themselves.
well,
No. They were buying studios.
yeah, they got 3 studios.
They
Yeah.
got three, but these are three smaller studios. It isn't like, you
Well,
know,
I can
yeah.
understand what you're saying. Is like you're not buying like the huge full company package. Like Microsoft is like oh, we're not buying just little bits of Activision. No, we bought Activision. Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
we went in, took up the whole thing on a forklift, and went out and said thanks guys, bye. No, Embracer probably walked in, saw what they had on sale, picked out what they wanted, and grabbed like the 50 IPs that they wanted, which I mean, to be honest, that's okay. That's not like these huge buys we've seen. So I don't have a problem with this happening because I feel like you would see this a lot with some of these other companies, small companies. Like you'll see some people like either do some sellouts, do some buys, go in, go out, because like maybe they want to get underneath of those umbrellas to get that experience and then maybe branch off afterwards. Who knows? So, but all in all, I want to see um what they do with everything here, with what they've just bought, with what they've just put underneath their umbrella again, with
Yeah.
what they've currently got too. I want to see them now take this and go forward more and like like really put out some good stuff for us now. Like that's the next step is now seeing, all right, now what are you gonna do with it?
Oh,
That,
they
I'm
did a
literally the
lot.
same. I'm literally in the same exact boat with you.
Now you could say they could do a lot 9-ball, but the thing is that they
It's
gotta
willing to do a
it.
lot, yeah, because that's
Like
the
I said, we haven't
conversation.
seen anything with THQ recently, or like some of these other games. Like the most recent one I think we've seen, like so far right now, just that's kind of like hit like kind of like the top marks is the SpongeBob SquarePants Rehydrated, which
Yeah.
I'm still happy that came out. I enjoyed
And then
that
Kingdoms
game.
of Amalur Re-Reckoning, but even that's still like
but those are just remakes. So
yeah.
What I can think of off the top of my head is probably be the top ones if they do it right. They basically, if you ever played the Metro series,
yeah, I played Metro, and that's good and all, but like I'm not talking about like revamping stuff. I'm
Like
talking
possibilities,
about,
talking
like,
about actually
fresh
doing it.
new
Yeah.
IP.
Yeah.
Like getting that because you've got a huge library that they've got. Like they've got like
you've
got the
got like
companies and teams. Like so they should now be able to get original IPs out there and not just revamps. Like don't get me wrong, revamps are cool because of us old guys, who have got all those old games or have seen those old games but like won't play it in the newer gen. Cool. We'll get it. We'll love it for it. But we still also want to see newer stuff. Like we don't want to see you just go into a group of being the recycling center, of like, oh, I just got to buy this up and then we'll recycle it. I want to see you guys put some stuff out there. Like you've got the groups, you've got the metal. Let's put the nose to the grindstones and let's really rock our world.
I agree like 100% on that. The only thing is basically some of them you can revive. Like for example, you've heard me say it a billion times. Soul Reaver really needs to be revived. To be honest, the franchise of Blood Omen and Soul Reaver was actually a very good game. It just went dead. When did it die? Like PlayStation 1 was like Soul Reaver 2, I think was like one of the last ones. So to be honest, I want to see new IPs too. I mean, that much is true. But some of these too, they can revive as well.
And that's the thing. We have the possibility of reviving them all. Like they have a huge library, but I agree with Mildew. We're just like, yeah, you have this. What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna revive it, or are you just saying, hey, we own this? Because that's where we're at right now. And like, it's not even just this podcast. There's so many other podcasts that I've been listening to as far as like Easy Allies and Kind of Funny Games and Maximilian Dude. They've been talking about this, and they'll be like, hey, like, yeah, it's cool. They have these IPs, but it's just like they're not doing anything with what they already currently have.
Yeah.
So
we
just need to
it
see
goes
motion.
back to it's like
the last Soul Reaver was Legacy of Khan at launch about 9 years ago, 10 years ago.
I mean, not really good for them, but so it goes back to that statement of, are you doing this just to become the recycling center for games? Which I personally don't have a problem, but or are you going to take it and learn from it?
They need to grow off of it, and they really need to like.
No, and I agree. They've and with the buy of Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief Legacy Game, and all these others, plus what they've got currently, they really need to sit down and they just need to have just that free study session where they all sit down, play these games, take notes, learn from them, and then come back and say, now what can we make that'll really just take the gaming world and just knock the ever living lights out of them? Can we build a game and come in and do what Kenna Bridges Spirits did, but it's so much more powerful where we like send them spinning and come back and asking for more? Like, can they do that? Or like I said, are they just gonna be like, all right, we got this game, well, we got Unreal 5, let's amp it up and redo it? I'm like, that's cool, but if that's all you're gonna be, that's kind of sad.
I do want to interject here because
no,
I had a question and I had two theories out there that I wanted to throw your guys' way. The question you've already thrown out there, you've already kind of answered a little bit. What's my question was going to be: are you guys surprised that it sold for $300 million? Again, with just Tomb Raider alone, that's a really popular franchise. I know that the one that came out for Xbox exclusively for a year and then came on over to rest of the consoles, that kind of did hurt it quite a bit because at that time, majority of the fan base was on PlayStation. So I guess at that time, it just kind of took a nosedive for a little bit. But then everything else again was on the up and up. You have Deus Ex, which you've heard nothing but great things about for the most part. I think there may be a small little thing that happened there, but then you also think about the Crystal Dynamics of what they did with the Avengers. Avengers is not doing well right now. You had what's it called?
He gets little hiccups.
Well, it's terrible. It's terrible right now. Like a lot of people do not.
Little hiccup.
But even when you talk about Crystal Dynamics and well, not even Crystal Dynamics, but Eidos Montreal, they came out with Guardians of the Galaxy, which theoretically sold well, but it didn't live up to Square Enix's standards and stuff like that. But I say all that to say this, and this is where I start going inside the theory. Now with all these studios out from under Square Enix and whatnot, they're now officially back to being a Japanese-only studio. With that being said, I think one of the reasons why they sold for so little is because not only, as you guys mentioned, it's not the whole thing. I think what they're doing is that they're preparing to be acquired by PlayStation. That's what I think is kind of happening here, is that they've already had, PlayStation and Square Enix has already had a close-knit relationship ever since they were Squaresoft. So they already had that relationship in general, and kind of cutting off some of this extra fat, this dead weight, whatever like that. That's what you call it. Yeah.
Literally, he just called Tomb Raider dead weight.
No,
I really am having a problem with that now.
No, I'm just saying in general, like when it comes down to Square Enix,
duel 9-ball. I think he's challenging me to a duel.
No, I know that's exactly what it started kind of coming down to be honest with you. There's even articles on that showing up how Tomb Raider had sold overall. Wasn't bad, not for the general public at all. Definitely not bad for sure. It's a household name, but I guess for Square, it just under-delivered for whatever reason. I don't know what their threshold is, but that's kind of what they were saying, is that some
way
of those
too high
ones. Yeah, they're just saying that some of those sales had just kind of under-delivered, and I think that, and I don't want to say that it's even Tomb Raider's fault, to be honest with you. I just think that they just had to kind of throw Tomb Raider in that, just because that is part of the Western studios already. You know what I mean?
Well, it's underneath Eidos Montreal. So.
Exactly. And they're getting rid of Eidos Montreal, so it's just like, well, we can't hold on to this unless we want to make it. I feel like that they would have grabbed a Square Tomb Raider if they were planning on still being independent. But I have a feeling that acquisition is going to be happening in the near future, which is why they're like, all right, well.
Tomb Raider's one that.
Here's the thing: nobody would be surprised at that. Everybody's already said it. They might as well. I mean, everybody is expecting it to happen. Yeah. So it's not gonna be like a big ooh, look, they acquired. It's not like the Activision to Microsoft. Everybody's basically saying if PlayStation's going to buy a company, it's Square Enix. Square Enix has been with
that and Konami. Yeah, that and Konami is the two that they always talk about. But even with that being said,
Konami, just say the names.
But even with that being said, again. Yes, people. I've heard this before. You hear it all the time. It's always rumored, but that's been years that we've been talking about this. Now that this is actually happening to where the Western studios are pretty much gone now it's just like, okay, now is this going to be in the near future now?
It could. It could be.
Why would you sell all your things to do that?
No, it's not. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so if you think about it, Nightball, and this is just partially backing up Malachi's thing, is they're selling off a lot of it, probably because if you were to look at the whole value overall of the entire group set plus this, you're already looking at $300 million here for this, and then however much Square Enix in terms of the entire company goes for, plus whatever else they still have underneath their umbrella, So maybe it's something they're cutting out to try and help lower the cost pricing for when there's actual buy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because again, you've said before that PlayStation does not have Microsoft money. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Malachi doesn't want to listen to him.
No, go ahead.
But I feel like they can't really do that because I feel like that's I think that kind of goes along with something like insider trading or something, selling off to prepare yourself for a buyout or something. I feel like that's, at least to me, it feels like something that the Federal Trade Commission would be getting on board, would be against. At least to me, that feels like it. But my thought is I'm wondering if they're maybe just cutting off stuff that's the extra, if you're looking at run costs of the company and everything. And the fact that, the last good games were back in 2011, and then, you got the Tomb Raiders and maybe that, didn't just sell well or just do as well. I'm wondering if they're cutting off some of that extra costs and they're going to stick with just themselves, Square Enix, go back to their roots and see if they can't reset themselves and rebuild back up from how they were at the beginning. So like try and get back to the roots of things and like regrow and rebuild up, and then maybe once they do that, then maybe they'll reach out again, possibly. But it just feels like they're trying to do like a reset because like like you were saying there, Malachi, like a lot of their studios like they just didn't have games that came out that well, or if they did like it's been years and goes. Like Square Enix Montreal had Hitman and Deus Ex, but those all back like 2014. That's 6 years ago. So and they haven't pushed anything else out. Well, Hitman Sniper came out like 2021, but this is the first time I heard it when I'm looking at their IP register. So I'm wondering if they're just like cutting off stuff like because it's cost and all that. They'll sell it out, give it to a different group that probably would be able to do more with it. Hopefully Embracer Group can do a lot with it, and then they're probably just stepping back and going to go back to whatever their roots were and trying to rebuild up. Now, to say that they're going to try this and then maybe down the road that doesn't work, and then they'll probably maybe go with a buy-in to PlayStation, definitely sounds plausible for sure. But as of right now, I don't think we'll see anything like that, especially with this sale just going on now. I would say you probably got maybe about 5 or 6 years probably before you see anything in terms of sales again from them, unless shit really hits the fan or something.
I partially well, first and foremost, I will say this: Square Enix is just a weird company. It's just a really weird company because you'll have them drop Final Fantasy VII Remake and it's a masterpiece, but then they'll turn around and do Stranger in Paradise, which is like weird. Like it's good, but it's like it's weird. It's just really weird.
Stranger in Paradise was an intern game.
Yeah, is it?
They got fired.
Yeah. It was just, but then they also have Babylon's Fall, which was just a bad game. You know what I mean? Like they just do some really really weird stuff. But I will say though, if they didn't throw this date in here, where it's saying that the deal is going to end July through September of 2022, because this has been going on for a while. It's just that it's recently announced. So this deal's already been in route for a while. I honestly don't think that it'll be that long for PlayStation to acquire them. I think within the year, it'll probably be announced. That, like, I won't be surprised if they're working on a deal right now, and then in early 2023, we hear something about PlayStation acquiring Square Enix.
I'm thinking actually that, to be honest, they may be doing what essentially Fox did. You remember what Fox did with Disney? They sold all their IPs to focus on the things that make them big amount of money, or the big things, or the most important, to kind of hone it in.
That's actually a good point.
And essentially, if you haven't noticed, the big things honing in Square Enix is, of course, the Final Fantasy series. You've got
Life is Strange. They helped out with the Don't Nod group or whatever, like down the front. They've talked about that. Yeah, you'll see Life is Strange at the Square Enix showcases. Square Enix presents.
Well, it's not owned by Square Enix though.
I don't think it's owned by that, but still, I don't know how close that relationship is with Don't Nod, because it seems to be extremely close if they're going to show it as Square Enix presents.
Yeah, I don't think it's underneath their roster of IPs though.
Yeah, I know they've been turning. Oh, sorry, going ahead.
No. I was going to just saw another title there, Valkyrie, Elysium or whatever.
Chronicles? The Valkyrie Chronicles.
Yeah, Valkyrie Chronicles, which is mediocre, but yeah.
You really are aiming for a fight, aren't you?
What? Are you a Valkyrie fan?
Yeah.
I don't think we ever talked about that. No, I didn't even know that you jumped. I didn't even know you liked Valkyrie like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. But go on with your point there, Milder. I mean, Nightball.
Getting back to it, I think basically they're probably honing in. I've noticed they have been turning a lot of attention towards the Final Fantasy series, which we will be discussing here shortly, actually, in the stories.
Very, very accurately.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that it may be for that. So that might be another reason why they're getting rid of them. Get rid of some of this excess, get what's important, and we'll go on that direction.
Yeah. Don't forget, actually, one of the things I forgot about is Forspoken is actually being produced by the main Square Enix group.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
that's
good
actually
call
an
out.
anticipated game. Like I said, I feel like we're seeing more from the main body of Square Enix versus the subsidiaries, and maybe that's why they're just like looking for a cutoff. Like I said, get back to the roots of them,
Yeah.
and then go from there. Because like they've got Kingdom Hearts 4
Mm-hmm.
that they've announced. They've got the Final Fantasies. They've got the Forspoken coming out. They've also they're owners of Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is a series that people love.
Yeah.
That's one of the
I
big
need to
ones
jump into
out
that.
there.
Oh, that's on sale actually.
And then of course Chrono Cross.
I have a question for you,
so
Mildewey, as you're going through this list. If you know from the top, is Kingdom Hearts? I know Kingdom Hearts obviously is under Square Enix, but who officially owns it? Is it Square or is it Disney?
So Kingdom Hearts, if I remember right, I believe is fully owned by Square Enix with rights with Disney, because it's done by Square Enix and Disney Interactive Studios. And the reason why, and I think it's main owned because Square Enix, I think owns like the greatest. If you think about it in terms of a share, I think Square Enix owns the greatest share for it. But they've got the rights for all Disney characters from Disney, so Disney's got like a really good say in it. But mainly when you hear Kingdom Hearts, you're hearing Square Enix.
Yeah.
So I believe they're the ones who started the initial point, and then Disney Interactive Studios got involved because of what they wanted to do with it, and it's just taken off from there. So,
Yeah, I was about to say. I think that actually, I think you're spot on there because I think I've overheard Nine Ball kind of mimic out something where it's licensing. Now that I think about it, I think it is Square, and then they doesn't just license their worlds and characters to Square.
Yeah, like what Spider-Man, Spider-Man and Marvel right now.
The Avengers, yeah. That makes sense.
They license the images and the creative rights to them. Like I said, the Disney Interactive Studios got involved with it. Obviously, and the mouse will never let their stuff be just done by someone else without their input.
Yeah.
But all in all, I mean, the game series to me, has been fantastic. I love the Kingdom Hearts series. I can't wait for 4.
Yeah, 4 looks really beautiful.
But I don't see Valkyria Chronicles in their listing here, Malachi.
I'm pretty sure they're owned by Valkyrie's owned by them. Let me see. Valkyrie. Let me see.
Now, are you talking about here's the question. Are you talking about Valkyria Chronicles, or are you talking about a different game?
It should be Valkyrie.
VALKYRIA.
Yeah.
Chronicles.
Valkyrie Chronicles. Yes, I'm gonna pull that up real fast because I'm pretty sure Elysium is underneath.
Oh, it's the second time I've heard about this.
It says here
developers
it's
of Sega Media Vision.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're talking about. Okay. This is a different Valkyrie game. This is not the same one that I was just talking about. Because I remember this one. I was about
to say, I'm like, if you're talking bad about my Valkyria Chronicles, are gonna fight.
No, let me look up Elysium because I think that's a different Valkyrie series. There we go. Let's see, Valkyrie Elysium, Square Enix. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Because now Valkyrie itself, there's games that were before it. Valkyrie Profile, Valkyrie Tamiya. The Origin, Valkyrie Profile 2. So those are all Square.
Right, these ones I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
All right, you just said Valkyrie, and I'm like, the only thing I'm aware of is Valkyrie Chronicles. I'm like, I am really about to just throw.
I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I know where you
forgot.
live.
I was about to say I forgot that the Valkyrie Chronicles. I mean, I played it and I did enjoy it because it's very XCOM like. But
Valkyrie Chronicles, and the story is fantastic too.
Yeah.
And the mechanics in the game is really good.
Yeah, I was talking about the other Valkyrie that's connected to Elysium. That's what I was talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, so.
Yeah, the Elysium looks like it's actually, like, that looks really fun, actually. Like, that one looks really fun. All the ones before that was pretty mediocre. Like, it wasn't terrible. Definitely was not terrible, but we just had this conversation where your Valkyrie mind went to one thing, and I was talking about a different thing. That's how relevant it is in conversation. It's very, like, you either played it or you didn't.
Yep.
So, But my last question. This one is probably super out there. I realize that, but I do want to ask it anyway.
He's still throwing the Hail Mary.
Do you guys think that because Embracer Group hasn't been doing anything drastic with their IPs that they've been acquiring, do you think that they're preparing for something? And what I mean by something, I'm talking about something that's in the space of cloud gaming, maybe a console, maybe something for PC. Do you think that they're going to have something like that to where these IPs are going to now be exclusively for those consoles or
No.
cloud gaming?
No.
You don't
Oh,
think
heck
so?
no, they better not.
No.
I'm throwing it out there because again, you have Amazon.
Project
Luna
Snowblind
that's
is
been
on
doing that.
Steam. So the fact that a lot of these games are on Steam, it makes no sense for them to try and create their own device to do it on. You know, Steam has been out and active for so long. I think we talked about this beforehand, where it's like if you need to launch a game on something to where it's like anyone and everyone can get a hold of it, just go to Steam. You know, now you could probably also group with Microsoft and with PlayStation, because Embracer Group is their own separate entity, so they can sell to they can release to all those different platforms. But I don't think they didn't inquire anything that looked like a tech based company to do any platform launches or stuff. Like Nineball did mention they got like the ARC, but like I said, that's like you trying to compete with Origins, with
EA Play,
well,
Dog.
no,
GOG, yeah.
Epic. Sorry, I was trying to remember.
Oh, Epic Game Launcher.
Epic
yeah.
and Steam. It's like you're trying to compete with them. It's not going to be worth it, really.
Yeah.
So if anything, I'm hoping they're doing with it, like I said, is they're taking them and they're learning from them, and they're going to give us new IPs that are really going to knock our socks off.
I guess ultimately, like, the reason why I came to that theory, which again I realized it was out there, but the reason why I kind of came to that theory is because one, is not unheard of, because we've been seeing this happen with Google with Stadia. We've seen it happen with Amazon and Luna. So we do see that big companies that no matter especially when they make a lot of money, some of those do take that risks. But also on top of that, it just does not make sense to me why before this announcement they still had a lot of stuff they were sitting on. They just haven't done anything with it. Like why are they holding on to it? And that's why I'm like, I wonder if they're coming out with their own thing. Maybe their own subscription service, because you see how that's going out. Like now you have Game Pass, you have PlayStation Plus doing their thing literally next month. You have Nintendo doing their thing. Like there's all these different types of subscription services. I'm wondering if they're preparing for something like that.
I
hope they do. I really hope they
do it. I'm thinking, to be honest, that they're not going to do it. I'm thinking that they probably just work. I'm going to say that they're working on them. They're probably taking the time and working on them. I don't think they really need another launcher on the thing.
We don't need one, but that's what I'm saying. That's where the business comes in, where there's like, oh, well, maybe we can go and get money out of people if we do a subscription service, if we end up having our own cloud gaming. We don't need Netflix and Hulu separately. You know what I mean? Like now everyone's doing their own thing. We had Netflix, we had Hulu. That was fine. Now we have Paramount Plus. Now we have HBO Max. Now we have all these different subscription services to where people are getting subscription fatigue. Companies don't care though.
Eventually, people will be smart enough to stop paying for this crap and just
They already started. Have you heard about Netflix?
Well, that's because of what Netflix is doing. That's not even because of subscriptions of fatigue. It's just because Netflix is kind of being stupid.
Well, Netflix is definitely being stupid, but it's a start, because people are doing. Netflix is just the starting point. Like, everyone. Like, I'm not saying we all do it, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people do password sharing between their families. Because it's like the amount that you spend on just one subscription for one channel is ridiculous. But if you've got like 4 people in your family and one person picks up one subscription for the family, it takes away a lot of the burden on one person trying to buy it for just them, like all 5 of them for themselves. Like, and there are like people who are like, oh, well, you can just cancel it after a week. And I'm like, you gotta remember to cancel the damn thing. And 2, if it's already been paid for and you didn't cancel in time, well, that's a month it's there. It's like, well, it's either you delete it and you've wasted the however many dollars you pay for the monthly subscription, or you sit there and wait for it and you try and cancel it at the end again. If you're lucky enough to get it to cancel at the end. So it's really this whole like subscription thing. Like, I get what they're doing, like going to the platforms and all, which is cool, but it's like, they're imitating cable online is really what's happening. Yeah, that's getting kind of annoying.
Yeah. And again, like, I don't see this happening, like, I don't see this ending anytime soon, at least not the gaming industry, because again, how successful Game Pass has been. Now a lot of companies are going to want to mock what they're doing. They want to kind of implement almost some degree of what they're able to do, which is why, I mean, you've already seen a lot of game launches out there, but again, you're starting to see all these different subscription services kind of now take root even more than ever. And I think also another thing that kind of enhanced that, especially, was COVID. People are staying in. People are gaming more. People are buying video games, buying consoles. So I just think that that's something that's somewhat inevitable.
Don't buy into it. Get a PC and get on Steam. It still works. And it's free. You don't have to pay for the game.
You know what also works? Story number 2, which is the end is nigh for Final Fantasy 16. Wesley LeBlanc from Game Informer says this in their article. Final Fantasy 16 is nearing the end of development, according to producer Naoki Yoshida, but there's still no word on a release date for the RPG. Oddly enough, Yoshida's reveal about the development of Final Fantasy 16 doesn't come by the way of any usual channels like Twitter, a press release, or development update. Instead, it comes by a new Yoshida interview in a free magazine currently being given away to Uniqlo stores in Japan, as discovered by Twitter user ALWT Final Fantasy 14 and translated by Video Game Chronicles (VGC). The magazine is meant to tie in with a collaboration between Uniqlo and Square Enix, in which Uniqlo is selling 16 different T-shirts, each based on one of the 16 mainline Final Fantasy games. Quote, development for the latest title, Final Fantasy 16, is in its final stages, Yoshida said in the magazine. Quote, Final Fantasy 16 aims to integrate the story and the game experience into a single-player game. Unlike online, which portrays more multiplayers simultaneously, Final Fantasy 16 focuses on the individual. This makes the story more immersive. It's a more dense story. As an adult, I learned about the society and said to myself, reality isn't as easy as a video game. I hope that those words, who once left Final Fantasy, will remember how exciting their passion for video games was back then. As noted by VGC. Yoshida said in October of last year that Square Enix will be nearing the final stages of development during Tokyo Game Show live stream earlier that year. He said that the Final Fantasy 16's development team was working on finalizing the final side quest for the game. In December 2021, Yoshida said Final Fantasy 16 news would be coming in spring of 2022. That news still hasn't come yet, unless this free magazine is what he was referring to. But last month, a new Final Fantasy 35th anniversary website was launched, and it teases that we could be getting information on the upcoming titles soon. End quote, end story. So, you guys already know me. I'm a huge Final Fantasy head. Point taken.
Are you?
My question to you guys, and on a serious note, like, I'm legitimately asking, is anybody other than me excited for Final Fantasy 16 or even looking forward to it?
I'm curious. I'll say I'm curious. I just don't know enough about it. I've only seen like the one trailer, and that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I was looking for British voice actors for it, and that's pretty much all I know of it.
Yeah, I'd say once they give us another trailer with some more info, I mean, I definitely would view. I mean, I've got 15 that I still got to play through. Mm-hmm. I mean, but you've been telling me about them, and I really like good games that have good stories in them. So I mean, if it's got those, then yeah, I'd probably pick it up. Now I can't remember. Did they say if this was MMO or single player style?
It's
like
single
15?
Player. It's a
single player.
It's a true Final Fantasy. Like all the other Final Fantasies are like considered spin-offs, including 14. Yeah. That's considered a spin-off. But the core Final Fantasy, like your 10s, your 7s, that's what this is going to be.
Okay. So, what is the official storyline?
Yeah, that's the thing. Every Final Fantasy is different.
So, no,
I know, but that's what we just want to know is like. So once we know more about it, I'm pretty sure we can give you a better review. So, am I excited that they're saying it's coming to an end? Yeah, it's like cool. They got another IP coming out. Into the fantastic world of Final Fantasy. Makes Malachi happy. A happy Malachi means happy gaming for us, but I'm also kind of curious to see like what they've got this time, because I will admit I do love Final Fantasy X. And actually, speaking of that, there is a Square Enix developer sale going on Steam.
Yeah, I just seen that.
Did I
You
know
know, there's
that? Did I know that
Huh?
you liked Final Fantasy X?
yeah, I love the Final Fantasy X. I told you though I stopped playing because that was the
Blitzball.
time when I was young and I didn't know about grinding and leveling and all that crap, and I
That's
got
right.
stuck at
That's right.
Mushroom Rock, and it was
Yeah.
like I just dropped it and stopped. But it's like now I want to go back and play because it actually had a pretty good story. I've also played what was it, Final Fantasy 12, the one where you pretty much you can go into battle and
Vaughn.
just set, yeah, with Vaughn and
Yeah.
all, you can just set your controller down and let them just do whatever. It was like, okay, it's kind of interesting, you know, that whole build, like just it's like coding, like code them to fight and all. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, I played that one, that was good. I played Lightning Returns, the Lightning series. Actually enjoyed those. A little bit of annoying with the first one with the grinding and all.
Yeah, the story
But
was kind of out there too, and I hated
the
Hope.
the Lightning Returns was definitely interesting, especially with like how they had the days and all. Like once each day goes by, and then like only if you get X certain amount, like you can go to the next day. Found day, like that was actually a kind of unique feature. I kind of enjoyed that because it really makes you think about your actions and all, what you can do. But other than that, like I mean, I've kind of enjoyed them. So it's just like I said, it just has to have that story that really intrigues me. So.
Yeah. I have
Hey,
no.
you know,
I've
Go
also
ahead.
played the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles series too, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Which
enjoyed those.
which that's also another. Now that one is I played a little bit of it and I enjoyed what I did play of it because I first played it when it was on. I think it was GameCube was the first one. That's when I first kind of dabbled a little bit into it. But I can't comment enough to it because I haven't played it enough. Same thing for 12. I haven't played it enough of 12 for me to have a full fledged. And even 13, I haven't played enough of 13 to have a full fledged opinion on it. But Nine Ball, I cut you off. What were you about to say?
no, I was about to say, well, what I was just gonna say is basically, I'm pretty a good fan on it. I like most of the Final Fantasies I played. I've beaten, like I said, I beat 8, 9, 10. I didn't really play 11. That was the MMO one.
Yeah.
Um, I played a little bit of 12. I beat the first part of 13. Haven't did the second two, and yeah, of course 14. I'm playing through 14 right now, and I haven't really touched 15, which is weird. Like I
I,
keep wanting to play.
I'm with you right there, Nightball.
The, for me, all right. So when we're talking about Final Fantasy proper,
Yeah.
the ones that I played is 7, of course, and you guys already know my history with that. 8, but that's how actually me and you started talking because we found out that we both played Final Fantasy 8. 10 and 15, and then 7 remake. So those are all the ones that I've played and beaten. When I think about it, like this is gonna be an interesting Final Fantasy. I'm very excited for Final Fantasy 16. Let me get that out of the way first.
Oh yeah, this will be the first day pickup for me if it looks good enough.
Yeah, it's gonna be first day pickup and PTO request for that week for sure. But my question though, my realization, my realization, my realization on this is that I'm wondering how I'm gonna react to it. And I say that because when I think about all the Final Fantasies I have played, all of them, except for 10 was more on like the industrial cyberpunkish style of it. 7, 8, 15, those are all cyber. They're not the fantasy side. Like there's fantasy in it, obviously, but it's not super magics and dragons and stuff like that. It's really kind of not really like that. That's in there, but it's not based on that. That's not the vibe you get from that. 10, you get that vibe. Like it's fantasy for days. So, and that was the only, if I really, really, really think about it, that's really the only Final Fantasy that I played that was like fantasy style. So this is going to be my second Final Fantasy that I would play that feels fantasy, and I don't know how I'm going to like react to it because like when I think about it, I haven't played Final Fantasy 1 through 5, which those are all fantasy based. I haven't played.
I actually have the original. I think Final. If I remember, I have the original Final Fantasy on for PSP.
I have
Okay.
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 4.
It's literally just a dungeon crawler. Like you just create your crew and just go out and just dungeon crawl around. It feels like I didn't see any story when I was playing. Which I mean, if I'm just looking for something around, just going around just beating up monsters, cool. but it just.
I think there still is a story because it has Garland and the Warrior Light and stuff. So I think it's.
Then I probably didn't get far enough to activate it. I probably just running around in circles.
Yeah, I was about to say because that's kind of what
very
Origins,
old school though. Like
Yeah.
it's old 8-bit.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say that's because that's even kind of what's going on right now with Stranger in Paradise. Is that's supposed to be the origins of how Garland came to be, and then it goes inside the story of that, which is weird because even though Final Fantasy 1 original, like the first Final Fantasy, was fantasy based, the way that they have origins is that there's some parts of it that is cyberpunkish, if you will. Like he has headphones for crying out loud in this fantasy world. You know what I mean? The way he even talks and stuff.
Those are rune speakers.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know, like it's very interesting of what they did, and apparently like for most people that played Stranger in Paradise, they're like the whole beginning portion is kind of confusing, and then it gets surprisingly good. Like the combat's really fun for them and everything like that. It's like a good hack and slash to go through with your friends. Even though it's not really hack and slash, but you get what I'm saying. But going back to the conversation here is that like I am very, very excited about Final Fantasy 16. It's definitely on my radar. But when I really think about it, like it's different than Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 10 or 15. It's more similar to 10 from looking at it than I can really even think about. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to be received from me. And let's talk about Final Fantasy proper, because if we talk about in general, 14 is for days fantasy, 1,000% fantasy. If we can talk about 14, which this is kind of the same thing. So.
Fantasy for days.
Yep. Story number 3. Just a little announcement here. You guys probably already heard this. Wesley LeBlanc. By the way, a lot of these are going to be from Wesley LeBlanc. That last one was from Wesley. This was from Wesley. Xbox Plus Bethesda Showcase. So Wesley LeBlanc from Game Informer says this in the article. Microsoft has announced that an Xbox and Bethesda Showcase will be held this summer. More specifically, the showcase will air on June 12th, beginning at 10 a.m. Pacific, noon at Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, that's Sunday, and will feature amazing titles from Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda's, and our partners around the world. As for what to expect, the showcase will focus on games that will soon hit Xbox Series X/S consoles and PC. However, these showcases have been known to surprise reveal new titles early in development, so it wouldn't be surprising if games with no release date are showcased. Quote, the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase will include everything you need to know about the diverse lineup of games coming soon in the Xbox ecosystem, including upcoming releases on Game Pass and Xbox and PC. Xbox Wire post reads. So, I want to start this one off with Mildew this time. What are you expecting to see at this Xbox showcase in a little over a month?
Well, I'm not gonna be able to unfortunately, I may not be able to watch this one. I think I've got stuff going on that day. Yeah, it's June 12th. Yeah, I'm a bit busy that day, but hopefully I can have it in the background playing. But we'll see. But as for what I'm expecting to see, to be honest, I'm hoping some good stuff and maybe I don't know, maybe get an Elder Scrolls 7, 8.
6. I think they're on 6, right?
6.
Yeah, they're on 6.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 6. Maybe we'll get pre Skyrim or something. I don't know, but I don't really have expectations really from them. Besides just like I said, because they got Bethesda, everyone's like, you're gonna see probably like new Skyrim IP, or an Elder Scrolls IP, or maybe even something similar to an Elder Scrolls, not an actual Elder Scrolls, but because it's Bethesda, I would think they would name it that. But I'm not really walking into with like a huge list of expectations and hopes and all. So,
Nineball, it's on your face. I'm just going to say it, but I want you to talk about it. Starfield. Are we going to see? Yeah, I see it on your face. I see it all over.
I was about to say they better show something.
That's why I don't have hope.
I want to see the following: Elder Scrolls 6, at least some type of development. I've heard myths and legends about it, and that's all they've been so far. Starfield. We want actual gameplay.
What's
Yes.
that?
Gameplay of Starfield, not just like teaser footage of it taking off. Like I keep hearing about the factions of Starfield and all that from like I think the Templin Institute talked about it, but I've not really seen anything concrete about it. They may touch on the new engine. This has always been a huge point of contention at Bethesda. Now I know when some games screw up, and this is why sometimes I'm not going to excuse them this time because we gotta look at the past. When some games screw up, even with Cyberpunk and them, when they had problem with theirs, we nailed them to the cross. And to be honest, they needed to. We need to stop giving Bethesda free passes and just making glitch joke videos for like 20 minutes of Skyrim, of the dragons flying around in circles and spiraling to the ground.
Have pigs
Cows,
walking in the air.
yeah, cows and stuff flying in the air. I'm hoping to see the new engine and that it's running fine. I want to see some surprises too. I'm hoping to see, of course, some more Hellblade, and who knows? I'm gonna put in a secret one. Phantom Dust. Bring it back. Bring back the Phantom Dust.
That's like Malachi asking for Bloody Roar.
It's happening. Don't kill the dream. It's going to happen. I can't speak on Phantom Dust, but I don't care if it's Xbox. I don't care if it's Nintendo. Just bring back Bloody Roar. Okay, that's all I gotta say. But I will say that I am in agreement with you as far as Starfield. I do think that we're way overdue. And I do think that they're going to show something. They have to show something at this showcase. I also want to throw out there, I don't know if we're going to see anything Elder Scrolls related. Because this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is like the first official Xbox Plus Bethesda showcase, right? Or did they do that last year?
I know they did a showcase last year.
Yeah, but
Xbox
I don't
did,
think I don't think it was like,
they did.
Like they did it like Bethesda and then Xbox, but I don't think this was Xbox Bethesda. I could be wrong, but
well,
if not, this is definitely at least the second.
Bethesda's main shtick is Elder Scrolls, so they better have something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can tell you, you're gonna have a lot of people kind of pissed.
I do think that I don't think we're gonna see anything Elder Scrolls related. I do think we're gonna see some Fable. I think they're gonna talk about Fable. That's Xbox.
It's flying. Yeah, they're flying head.
Yeah, but it's Xbox plus Bethesda, so they still can't show it.
True.
So that's an old series. I mean,
they talked about they did show it at the Xbox Showcase last year.
I don't remember them showing Fable.
Yeah, it was just a little CGI trailer. It was like literally like 10 seconds of that.
Oh wait, yeah, the Fabled Legends. Sorry.
Yeah, so I was about to say it was just a CGI. You just saw like a person like
I completely forgot about that.
I think that we're going to see some Fable.
Wait, no, Fabled Legends was shut down. That's something different.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't know. I just know it was a new Fable is what they were announcing, and they showed it at the Xbox Showcase last year.
Hold on. Okay, yeah, they did this. Okay, here we go. I completely forgot about this trailer until you announced it. Okay, yeah. If they show more about this, I'd be happy. I actually did enjoy the Fable series. I like the choices that they gave you in there. Now, it wasn't as advanced as, say, like, Dragon Age or Mass Effect, but it was still good, and I'm hoping that, with their new tech and everything, that they can really increase it. So... But I did enjoy the Fable series. I did enjoy it. So,
yeah. So I won't be surprised if we see a little bit of that. I do think we're going to see some more details about.
I forgot
the frog.
The fairy's like all just dancing around, being all queen, like I'm so. Got eaten by a frog.
Yeah. I do think that because it's slated for summer of this year, I think we're going to see something about Redfall. I do think we're going to talk about that a little bit. Even if it's at least a delay, I think they're going to show that. And then lastly, I think that they might hint. I don't think they're going to spend too much time on this, especially depending on the status of the showcase. If it's an hour long, then they'll probably touch on it. But at the same time, I don't know if they would do this necessarily here, but they did announce it. I am kind of curious to see if they're going to talk a little bit more as far as the family plan for Xbox Game Pass. Because Yeah, they talked about a family plan that's coming to Xbox Game Pass, and that was shortly after this the reveal of what Spartacus was for PlayStation, and just kind of showing what it was. It was like maybe I think like a day or like maybe a week later, they're like, hey, by the way, we're going to be rolling out a family plan here soon for Xbox Game Pass. So yeah. Before we get to story number 4, you guys already know this. Every single week, we kind of go over this list of games that we have because we're in a video gaming league called Fantasy Critic Games. Or Fantasy Critic Games, that is. That's where we do this at. 6 of us are inside a video gaming league. It works just like fantasy football, but instead of going against everybody one time at a time, you're against everybody at the same time, and it's not on a weekly basis, on an annual basis. It's on a 100-point scale, with 70 points being the threshold on Metacritic and OpenCritic. Anything that scores above 70 points on Metacritic, OpenCritic gives you points. Anything below loses you points. There's also counter picks out there. So if I choose a game, or Mildewy or Nine Ball chooses a game that's on somebody else's list, if it does poorly, then the person that had counter picked it would get those points. If it does great, then the person that counter picked it would lose those points. And then if it does not come out, then the person that had counter picked it just prevented that person that owns it from dropping it from the list to try to get different points from a different game. So, I do want to kind of go over this real fast because we got some games that's coming up. Nothing too new as of right now, but in 7 days, Salt and Sacrifice for Carrot Patch Inc. is coming up. And then a month later is going to be Diablo Immortal, as it's listed on here for LSB Live. So in first place still currently is Moga, Make Ohio Great Again. He has on his list Elden Ring, got him 31 points, 95 on Metacritic. Pokemon Legends Arceus got him 14 points, 84 on Metacritic. Sifu got him 10 points, 80 on Metacritic. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga got 12 points, 82 on Metacritic. Marvel's Midnight Suns pending. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge pending. He has 2 open spots, and he has a counter pick of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is not coming out this year. In second place right now is Carrot Patch Inc. Has Gran Turismo 7, 17 points, 87 on Metacritic. Forspoken pending. Tunic, 15 points, 85 on Metacritic. Splatoon 3 pending. Stray pending. Salt and Sacrifice pending. Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp pending. Hogwarts Legacy pending. He has a counterpick of Chocobo GP, which got him 5 points because it got a 65 on Metacritic. In third place, ALWT Gaming has Horizon Forbidden West, 18 points, got 88 on Metacritic. A Plague Tale Requiem pending. Starfield pending. Ghostwire Tokyo, 7 points, 77 on Metacritic. Gotham Knights pending. Redfall pending. King of Fighters 15, 11 points, 81 on Metacritic. Mario Strikers Battle League pending. And it has a counter pick of Bayonetta 3, which is pending. In fourth place is Zaka Court. Has Tiny Tina's Wonderland, got 9 points, 79 on Metacritic. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, pending. Saints Row, pending. Total War Warhammer 3, 16 points, 86 on Metacritic. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, pending. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, pending. Warhammer 40k Dark Tide, pending. He has an open spot. He has a counter pick of Marvel's Midnight Suns. In fifth place is Renzokuken, who has God of War Ragnarok pending. Triangle Strategy, 13 points, 83 on Metacritic. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, not coming out. Chocobo GP, negative 5 points, 65 on Metacritic. Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, 15 points, 85 on Metacritic. Final Fantasy 16, pending. Metroid Prime 4, pending. He has an open spot, and he has a counterpick of Diablo Immortal. And lastly, but not leastly, is Illuminatus Living with Dying Light 2 Stay Human, 6 points. 76 on Metacritic. Bayonetta 3, pending. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins, 3 points, 73 on Metacritic. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, pending. Diablo Immortal, pending. Shovel Knight Dig, pending. He has 2 open spots and has a counterpick of Saints Row. And then, of course, anybody that's watching right now, if you guys like energy drinks or anything like that, make sure you guys go to Rep Sports, REPPsports.com. Type in ALWT Gaming at checkout. Get 15% off your Raise energy drinks, water supplements, workout powders, your little t-shirts, all that good stuff. Just type in ALWT Gaming. 15% off. 15% sign off. But enough about that. I do want to go on over story number 4. I call this one PlayStation Plus conversion. And the reason why I say that, I'm going to kind of explain it here in a minute. So Chris Pieta from GameSpot says this in the article. Having now confirmed that it isn't allowing existing PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now subscribers to stack their subscriptions to get the new PlayStation Plus at a cheaper price, Sony has outlined just how existing vouchers will convert to the new version of the service. You may want some Dramamine or on hand before diving in. In short, if you're existing PlayStation Plus / Now subscriber, you can't extend the membership at the current prices in order to obtain the discounts on the new PlayStation Plus. If you buy vouchers at a store right now, existing subscribers will have to wait until new PlayStation Plus launches being able to redeem them. Once the ability to redeem these vouchers become available, they will be prorated based on the versions of the services you're subscribing to. You'll get 1-for-1 subscription if your new tier matches the old one, for instance. If you're sticking with the basic PlayStation Plus Essential, 1 year PlayStation Plus vouchers will still get 1 year. But if you're jumping to PlayStation Plus Extra, a 12-month subscription will only get you 219 days of subscription time, while moving to Premium will only get you 183 days. So, sounds bad, but here's the thing. All right. 2 of 3 of us work retail, okay? 2 of 3 of us definitely understands, and not saying that the third of us does not understand this, but 2 of 3 of us definitely understands on a, I guess you could say daily or weekly basis of customers trying to take advantage of the system. That's what's going on here, folks. Trying to say this. All right, this part is one that I will say again. Call me Sony Pony all you want if you want to. People are like, oh, PlayStation being anti-consumer. How come they just didn't let you do? No, people are literally stacking and stacking and stacking PlayStation Now. So that way, when they can just, for years to come, forever how much they purchase, they're trying to stack as many memberships as they can. So that way, on an annual basis, they're saving $60. That's what they're doing, because what it is that they had announced that at the beginning, like once this conversion happens, if any PlayStation Now members right now, they'll just convert on over to PlayStation Premium, the highest tier. Like they're trying to do something nice here as far as being like, hey, it's just going to be easy transition and bada bing bada boom. People that were never into Now or whatever was taking advantage of this, like, oh, if I get Now for $60. Then when it converts on over, I'm already at that premium member, so I get to save another $60. This is scheming at its finest. This is not anti-consumer. They shut something down, obviously, and they shut it down because, huh?
They're just planning ahead.
Yeah, no. I will say again on the spectrum of this, they should have thought that people are just, you can't trust people. People are going to be scheming. You know that this was going to happen. That's what they should have done. So shame on PlayStation for that. I will admit that. But
no,
people
that's not PlayStation's fault.
Well, but that's the thing. Other podcasters out there, other people are like, this is pro consumer. This is mean. This is what. No. How long do you think this was going to work? How long did you think that this was going? This is not how the program was designed to be. This is going to be a one-time thing, because again, like, in the next year, people are going to forget about this because it's just a transitional time period, just like the whole PS4 to PS5 thing. Here soon, there won't be any more PS4 games. It'll just be PS5 moving forward. But, like, it's just one of those topics where just, like, you weren't impressed with the service as they announced it, which is the different tiers. And then now when you find out that you can maybe save $60, and then PlayStation's like, no, that's not the way we meant it to be. Now you're trying to call them anti-consumer. You know what I mean?
No,
like
they're hating on it because they just lost a shit ton of money thinking they could get one over with it, and
not to mention scalpers.
Yes, no, and I'm pretty sure they're probably like, well, now you owe us money back. They're like, no, you got to go back to whoever you bought those cards from, and now you got to like try and get a refund from them. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like, no, so because I'm pretty sure a lot of these cards are past like return dates and all, because like they bought them out, like literally, like as soon as this was announced and all, and people that knows what that about about being able to to stack that and all, they like literally you could not find a PlayStation Now card anywhere.
Yeah, I was checking that recently online, and a lot of them are sold out even online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it literally is. Yeah, I mean, it's sad it has to come to this, but this is the way to combat schemers, because that's literally what they are. They're people that are scheming, trying to. It's different if it's a promotion and a deal, and then it's different if you find a loophole. Because if you guys are trying to justify this as being like, oh, this is anti-consumer and stuff like that, if you guys trying to justify this, then why don't you how come you guys are not backing up people that are hacking games? The game is not meant to be played this way. It's not supposed to be X, Y, and Z. But there are people who will get in there and find loopholes to try to always win, get headshots on you all the time. This is the same category. They found a loophole. It's not fun when they find a loophole for the people that's playing it.
They're gonna cry about it. So like, if you call them out on it, and they get caught about it. Then they're like, "No, I should be able to play the way I want to." Like, they'll cry about regardless.
Yeah. So
play the way you want to, just don't play online with it. I just
wanted to. Yeah, that's one
you
way to do it.
You want to set up a custom map? You go and get a custom map and just hack your friends till the cows come home. You get online.
Yeah.
You better behave, boy.
I wanted to throw that story in there because, again, like, there's so many podcasters out there that's just like PlayStation being anti-consumer on this one. And no, like, this is one of those rare scenarios where you just literally look at the camera and you just say people suck. That's what it is. Like, literally people are trying to scheme and get deals when there's not a deal going on. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, that one, good on you, PlayStation. That's what I'll say. I don't care, again. Sony Pony, PlayStation Nation, whatever you want to call me on that one. That is, I can't stand it when people, and maybe that's the reason why I can't stand it, is because I am in retail. So I see this all the time, and it's just very frustrating when people try to scheme the system. It's not meant to work that way. Stop it. Just stop it.
Consumerism.
Feeling privileged. Story number 5. Prince of Persia's new castle. George Young from IGN says this in their article. Ubisoft has announced that the Prince of Persia the Sands of Time remake is now being handled by Ubisoft Montreal, who created the Sands of Time trilogy. The project was originally in development over Ubisoft Pune and Ubisoft Mumbai, two of the company's studios in India. Quote, this decision is an important step in the team building upon the work achieved by Ubisoft Pune and Ubisoft Mumbai, will now take the time they need to regroup on the scope of the game to develop you the best experience for this remake of an all-time classic when it's ready, Ubisoft says in a statement on Twitter. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake was first announced on September 2020 with the release date of January 2021. It seemed like everything was set for as various retailers had listings and pre-order bonuses up. However, in December 2020, Ubisoft announced that the game would be delayed until March 18th, 2021. When February 2021 rolled around, Ubisoft announced that the game has been delayed once again, this time indefinitely. Now it looks like the game development has advanced, but the new release date has yet to be revealed. Ubisoft, however, plans to, quote, rest assured, however, explains, quote, rest assured that we'll update you on the progress in a future update, end quote, end story. So I do want to ask you guys, first and foremost, was any of us Prince of Persia fans?
No.
I played it.
Yeah, I haven't really been
a little bit of gameplay, but
yeah, I was about to say, I haven't really been a huge Prince of Persia fan. When they first announced the remake, it didn't really do anything for me, but I did see where a lot of hardcore fans would be disappointed by looking at it, like for what they did show and everything.
Yeah. It seems like there's something going on with the remake to keep pushing it back like that.
Yeah.
I know COVID and everything was going on too, but still, it's like for them to keep pushing it back and then to fully take off the date and all, it sounds like there's something maybe in production or with the remaking of it that's kind of causing it to have a lot of delays.
It's good that they're bringing it back to the team that originally handled Sands of Time, the trilogy.
Like, so, I don't know much about it.
Yeah. I don't either, but looking at that, like if they handled the trilogy before and if it was a beloved title, more power to them. Well,
here's the thing. Is the crew that made the original title still there?
Yeah, but I feel like for the that's very fair. That's very fair. That's very, very true. I do feel like for the most part in the video game industry, if you've been there towards the beginning, you're likely still there. Like, I feel like you're probably, because a lot of that toxicity and stuff like that, at least on a reporting level, didn't actually start hitting heavy until, I want to say, maybe in the past 10, 15 years. So Sands of Time in general is older than that, and I have a feeling that if you were probably on that project, you're probably already moved up inside the ranks. You're probably going to retire from a video game studio, go from there. I could be just speaking out my butt, so but I'm just kind of throwing it out there that at least there's some sort of history there. There's probably some sort of paper trail too, as far as like how if those guys are not there anymore, there's probably some sort of insight and stuff. Like, hey, this is what we did when we were working on this.
Unless you're Konami, that loses half your game codes.
True.
Yeah, we don't know where we put it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that actually happened to Silent Hill. That's the reason why Silent Hill 2, when they did the remake of it, they had such a hard time because they said that Konami actually lost the code to it. So the company that did the remake had to do it from scratch because they're just that special in that department.
Why
did you put the game making stuff? Oh God, I think I flushed it down the toilet. Oh, you're gonna have to just do it on your own.
Speaking of special, story number 6, Sony's new acquisition manager opening. Our boy Wesley, once again from Game Informer, says this in the article. As 2022 continues to be the year of acquisitions, with news that Square Enix is selling Embracer Group 3 of its Western development studios and more than 50 IPs, it seems like Sony is still looking for a bolster in its first party family. That's because the company is now hiring for a corporate development director responsible for identifying inorganic growth opportunities through acquisitions and more, as discovered by Roberto Serrano on Twitter, reported by VGC. It's not surprising that Sony is looking to hire somebody like this, especially when you look at the current video game landscape. It feels like every other week a major acquisition is announced. Quote, Sony Interactive Entertainment seeks a highly qualified director, corporate development. Sony's job listing reads, SIE's corporate development team works closely with SIE's management team and is responsible for identifying inorganic growth opportunities through acquisition, investments, and or joint ventures. The team sources, evaluates, and completes transactions that are aligned with SIE's strategic priorities and drive significant long-term value for the company. End quote, end story. Maybe I should apply. I do think that this is a really cool thing. I am very curious to see. I say a cool thing loosely. Now I'm thinking about it as a backtrack, because again, everything is getting acquired left and right. This could either be a really, really good thing because now studios don't have to worry about making money for X, Y, and Z if they can take more risks. So if something were to fail, it's not coming out of their own pocket. This is like Sony, Microsoft, all that. That's now be like, all right, well, you screwed up. Let's go and try to do this one. You know what I mean? So, but it also comes down to management. How are these studios going to be managed moving forward? Are they able to do the Naughty Dog? Well, not even Naughty Dog, because that's kind of a poor example. But Insomniac, you haven't heard a single bad thing come out of Insomniac as far as how their work ethic goes. And they're able to put out quality production titles. Spider-Man, already working on Wolverine. Spider-Man 2. Miles Morales, they came out with. Like, Ratchet and Clank came out at the beginning portion of last year. And still, you don't hear about crunch. You don't hear about toxicity. You don't hear about any of that from Insomniac. Knock on wood. But again, like, even for Naughty Dog, even though that they had that whole thing with crunch and everything like that, even for Naughty Dog, they are still having quality and premium experiences that's out there. They're not exactly Call of Dutying it to where every single year there's a Last of Us or a Uncharted. They're not doing that every year. They're able to work on different projects that they want to work on and everything. So yeah, so like I said, it's either a good thing or a bad thing. Any other comments before we go on over to the fun ones?
Yeah, this is the most crappiest game of Pac-Man I've ever seen. Dude, they're just eating everything.
They really are, yeah.
They're just eating everything up.
Yeah, everything's getting acquired.
Waka, 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 waka. Soon there'll be nothing left, and then the Federal Trade Commission goes, "All right, we're ready. Where'd everyone go?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what will always be left is fun ones from ALWT Gaming because we have a fun one here. PlayStation Plus, and if as I'm reading this off, Nine Ball, if you don't mind looking up what the Xbox game for Gold is, or even the Game Pass games that's coming this month. But PlayStation Plus games, it says this in the article with Steven Petit from GameSpot. May's 2022's PlayStation Plus free games lineup is now available. This month, PlayStation Plus subscribers can claim FIFA 2022, Curse of the Dead Guides, and Tribes of Midgar. All 3 games are available to add to your library until June 6th. I wanted to throw out there because Tribes of Midgar is actually going to be our 9 to 5 for May. And so we'll get you guys a heads up as far as what date that's going to be on. It's going to be on one of these Saturdays. Not this Saturday, but it may be the 14th, 21st, or the 28th. So be on the lookout for all of that. Did you have enough time there to check out the games for Gold or games on Game Pass there? What's up?
I got the games for Gold.
All right, talk to me.
Whew, where did they find these? Well, where do we begin?
The recycle bin.
Pretty much. So we got coming on May 1st through the 31st is Yucas Island Express. Don't even ask. May 16th through June 15th is the Inner World. The other one is, what is it? Hurricane? What is that? Hydro Thunder Hurricane for your Xbox 360 and for the 1st of May to the 15th of May. And then for May 16th to 31st is Viva Pinata.
Gotcha.
So they got a speedboat racing game. You got Viva Pinata. What's the other one?
Yeah, they're trying.
What was the other one?
Are they? That's the question.
No, it really does feel like they've gotten to the recycling bin. It actually says the Hydro Thunder Hurricane is an arcade game.
I honestly think
which
that
I have a feeling that I
random...
have played one of those in an arcade before.
I have a feeling that they're just randomly throwing stuff out there for games of Gold now, just trying to force everyone to Game Pass.
Well, Game Pass, I see their games coming out.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Loot River.
Mm-hmm.
On May the 3rd. May the 5th is Trek to Yomi.
Yeah,
and
that's
Citizen Sleeper.
That's that little side scroller. It looks like very Ghost of Tsushima, but it's black and white.
May 10th is Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair Anniversary Edition, which seems interesting.
Danganronpa.
Somebody told me those were pretty good. I have not played them yet.
I haven't either.
Uden Chronicle Rising.
Okay.
And This War of Mine Final Cut, which I absolutely love that. But you could buy that game for like $4 to $5 actually. Just buy it.
I think I got it for free on something, to be completely honest.
Probably on
PlayStation.
Yeah, something like that. Either that or Humble or something.
But yeah, this War of Mine's really good. I like it too.
And May 12th, for all you fans of sports, we got the greatest sport of all, NHL 22. Who's hockey fans? Yep. Console.
Interesting.
Yeah, so if
I
you're
haven't
a
played
hockey
fan in a while. I haven't played a hockey game in a very, very like PlayStation 1, literally. Maybe PlayStation 2.
A hockey game since PlayStation 1.
I haven't. I literally haven't. I've never really fully watched a hockey game. I think I went to one hockey game probably about 2 years ago, because my buddy was in town and he had tickets, so he took me on out to go see it. It was like the Columbus Blue Jays or whatever. But Blue Jackets. There you go. But the only thing that I know about like hockey, like professional wise, was Wayne Gretzky, and that's it. Like that was
Bombers.
Dayton Bombers, yeah. Dayton Flyers was also, wasn't that another one? Flyers?
No, that was a basketball team. I know we had the Dayton Bombers.
Yeah. That's UD.
I went like years ago with like little kids and stuff. They took us to a Dayton Bombers game. Mm-hmm. We just watched two guys fight.
Yeah, I remember that.
Isn't that the point of hockey?
Pretty
fighting on ice.
Much. It's like Disney on ice, just a big burly guy.
But just want to throw out there a couple ones for you guys. This Thursday, it is pending, but we should be back on track with our SIN segment picking back up on Bloodborne and getting through that. So be on the lookout for that. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till 10 p.m. There's a slight possibility that it might have to end up being postponed for one more week, but that is TBD. So be on the lookout for all of that. Nothing this Saturday or this weekend, and then following all the way up until next Tuesday, which is our ALWT Things Gaming, talking more video game news as they come out throughout the week. Also, be on the lookout again. We are going to be live reacting to the Xbox Plus Bethesda showcase on June 12th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We may have special guests on the showcase, so be on the lookout for that. Until next time, everybody, I am Malachi 36. He is Mildewy Carrot, and he is It's the Nine Ball, signing out until this Thursday. Control Alt
Play.
Peace.
Love the haircut.